Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
All right, welcome, folks, to a brand new episode of the Frankly Francisco podcast. I am your host, Francisco. We have a special treat. We are coming to you from Cleveland, Ohio. Today, I am interviewing a multi-talented, multifaceted artist. His name is Honasty Blade. So, folks, I'd like to introduce you to Honasty. How we doing today, Honasty?
Excellent, brother. Man, everything's a blessing. Every day is a blessing. I'm not complaining, man.
So people who don't know your background, let people know what was your inspiration to get into music.
The inspiration came from a few different sources. Definitely from the artists that I heard over the years out on the popular, But it was also a family inspiration. I have two uncles who did music, two uncles on my mother's side, and they did music along with my older brother who passed away. So I just wanted to keep up and do it with them. And when I started writing, I took it more serious over the years, and that led me to where we are today.
So you're one of these artists who actually writes your own lyrics, and there's no ghostwriters involved. Because you know how the hip hop community is. If you're not doing your own stuff, it's a sin. It's a sin in the game. So are you one of these guys? You just write, even if you don't use those songs and those rap songs that you're doing, you keep them in the back of your mind for later on.
Absolutely, yeah. Soul writer, no ghostwriters or nothing.
So have you? What are the outlets that you use to so people to get a taste of what you can do?
YouTube definitely. All of the digital streaming platforms, the Spotify's, the iTunes, Amazon Music, Deezer. I have a project out, and it's my first LP. It's called Son of Mark. My father's name is Mark. So that was the first project. If you want to see the videos, you can catch everything on YouTube, Honasty Blade Music at youtube.com.
Sweet. So the album, the LP, was inspired by your dad.
The name was.
The name was inspired by your dad. So, what is the most important song for you on that LP right now? That the song that you had the most passion for doing that hit home for you.
That's interesting. A lot of them did. It's hard to say which one was the most. Right now, I have a current one that's hitting me the most, and it was the last entry onto my track list. It's the first track. Days of Rain, it follows it, but Raise Up 2 is the first track. And Raise Up 2 is the one that I added at the very last second. And it was 9 tracks. I had the last one as the 10th one, and it didn't seem like it was going to go to it, but once I added it, it seemed most appropriate. I guess that one, it impacts me the most because it's like the I'm here, you know.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Your passion for music, it drives you. So it makes you want to go out and be successful. So you're using different outlets to do that. Are you collaborating with anybody right now? Do you have somebody in your corner that's helping you produce this stuff? Somebody that you want to mention that's helping you get to that point?
Facts. My producer, Power Naps. Some may know him by Napoleon, DJ Highest Self. He has a few different monikers because he's a DJ as well as a producer. But all of the production by him. The mastering on the project was by Jason Remedy, Doc Remedy of Primal Rage. And it's really just a small in-house team, you know.
That's good. So you always got to have somebody in your corner that's backing you, that's helping you get where you want to get you where you want to be. The problem with the music game is everybody wants to use somebody, but don't ever want to give back to help open doors for everybody. And that's one of the most frustrating things that I found about in any business that you're in. People feel like, well, if I made it, you need to make it the way I made it. You know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, there's nothing wrong with collabing with people to get where you need to be. We got to be able to open doors. I don't think we do a better job of lifting each other up when it comes to that stuff.
Man, Black Wall Street. That's all I got to say. Like, we tear each other down.
Yeah, and I think there's a stigma when it comes to the hip hop genre, when it comes to certain things like that. If if an artist is coming up, they want to take advantage of that artist because he's new to the game. So, and I think that's something that needs to change when it comes to the record labels. You have black-owned record labels, but they're subsidiaries of major
joints.
label record companies. You understand what I mean? Look at Young Money. Look at their I believe they're a subsidiary of Cash Money.
Yeah.
And then Cash Money is a subsidiary
Universal.
of Universal.
Yeah.
So you can say you own your own label, but do you really own your own label?
Right. It's the Dame Dash topic. You know, it's like you can call yourself a boss, but you're not until you're putting up your own capital.
Right.
And that's the facts. And you know, a lot of us we want the bragging rights that comes with being a boss, but it ain't all that. It's more work.
So people don't realize, it's hard to go, 10 toes down all in the music like that because you got to eat. You know what I mean? And there's no guarantee that the music game is going to create a steady flow of income for me. A lot of these artists don't even make money off their LPs anymore. Where they make their money from is touring. You know what I mean? So when they say, "Oh, I got a million records sold," or went double platinum, yeah, but you didn't make $1 off of that. You made like 50 cents on $1 off of that.
Right.
The record company's making the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what kills me is that everything that the record company does for you comes out of your cut.
Yep. That advance they give you. Yep.
So, recording time, if you get a car, it came out, they brought it with your own money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It kills me. So a lot of these artists go out and they generate millions of dollars strictly from touring. So have you lined anything up for yourself, shows that you want to start doing to get out there, to get your voice heard even more? Because I've heard your stuff, man. You're very, very talented. But we want to try to bring you to a wider audience. So do you have anything planned? College shows? Do you have any these the clubs, when they doing newcomers, you know what I'm saying, to go out there for the music?
I hear you. Within this past pandemic era, I haven't wanted to touch base with the public, to be honest. I wouldn't be opposed to a virtual show, but I'm kind of hesitant. And as far as that Corona topic, that's a whole nother bag. But you know what I mean? It's a crazy time, and I'm not sure how I want to move with that.
Yeah, I understand. I definitely understand. It's been hard to get people in the seat. You're like one of the first guys I've had in the seat since my first episode. Last couple episodes, I've done it through camera, and it gets kind of annoying because I'm a front-facing type of person. I like to speak to people face to face. I feel you get a more genuine conversation that way. And before we started recording, we started having a conversation about the recent passing of X.
Yeah.
So was X an inspiration for you?
Oh, man. That would be an understatement. X was my favorite for a long time. And, of course, before X, we had bigger legends. We had Pacs, we had Biggs, we had all of those. But, I was born in 1988, so I had to go back. I had to, backwards travel on a lot of the artists that we consider substantial. And so, long story short, DMX was that Pac for me. Pac was good, but I felt like lyrically, X was more relatable to me because East Coast style, hardcore, substance, deep, strong messages. So X has always been one of my favorites.
So X was one of my favorites as well. So I grew up in a different era.
Yeah.
So I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. I was born in 79. So, I grew up with Rakim. He's one of my top 5 artists of all time, period. Carousel 1. So I grew up in that era where hip-hop was just starting to bloom the way they needed to bloom. And in the 90s, forget about it, hip-hop exploded to a whole nother level. You had Pac, you had Biggie. But X came along, man, and he just destroyed everybody. Just lyrically, his message. He was a man of faith. But a lot of people, from what I'm seeing on the social media, talking about this man's legacy, how great he was. But nobody really wants to talk about the demons that he faced. You know what I mean? He was a man of God, but he still dealt with his addiction. And people don't want to put a face on it. You have to. That much talent, and yet the drugs destroyed him. I mean, he had a heart attack because he OD'd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think people need to understand that in the music industry, a lot of these guys get killed because of that stuff. Look at what was it? Pump C, right? Pimp C. Pimp C. Then you had what's that young cat's name?
That Juice WRLD cat.
Mac Miller.
Oh, Mac Miller, yeah.
Mac Miller was another one. These guys, they just the pressure, man, to be in the game. Sometimes it can be too much for people. So how do you avoid that? How do you avoid that pressure? Because you want to be successful, but you don't want to sell yourself out or sell yourself short. You know what I mean? And put that kind of pressure on you where you want to be that big, that badly that you're willing to sacrifice what you would normally
Right.
stand for.
What you stand on. I mean, I guess it's easier said than done, but I think keeping no people around you as opposed to yes men, like because with celebrities, and some are born into it, some make it into it, but oftentimes we see they got people who are yes men in them. They feel like, okay, because you're grown and you got a lot of resources, money, fame, etc., that you can't get too big for your britches, and you have to keep yourself in touch with people who will be real with you. And there's levels of real, but like people that just see you as you, no matter what your possessions, accomplishments are. Like I got family and friends that no matter my level of talent, it's not even a focus. And you need to keep those people around you to keep you grounded. You know.
That I understand. Trust me, my mom critiques me all the time on my podcast, man. It's amazing. Like, oh, you
Mm-hmm.
should do this, you should do that. You know, I tune her out sometimes about it because this is something I do for me. But you always want to hear that as well because you want people to say, hey, you know, you can do this a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you think, sometimes you get agitated because everybody has pride. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Everybody wants to take pride in the work that they do, but sometimes you need to get critiqued to
Mm-hmm.
get better at what you do. So yes, sometimes I get a bit agitated with that, but at the same time I listen and I take notes and I may pull pieces
Mm-hmm.
of what the critique is to try to improve what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So is that something that you do?
Facts, facts. Yeah, if I'm ever critiqued, I'm listening. You know, I never just shut it down. And you know, I'm curious to know what's it based on, because if it's based on something, then I can respect it, and I can say, okay, you took time to look. You're not just uttering it off. You know.
S- So are you currently working on a new LP right now? Or you're still just trying to promote the LP you came out with already?
Both. I'm always promoting the current LP, the Son of Mark, but I normally work on several projects at a time, just because as an artist, sometimes I might get bored with a creative space. So I'll say, okay, I got this project, but in the meantime, I'm doing this one too. So, like currently, Son of Mark is out on all of the DSPs, the Amazons, the iTunes, but I also have New 90s coming. New 90s is pretty much like that cream of the crop era of substance, but with an updated 2020, 2021 kind of format. So I got that project, professional use only. That's the second official project that I plan to drop, but I'm always creating. You feel me?
So from your style kind of feels like it's lyrical. It's like a '90s type of feel to it, rap style wise, where you have a message behind what you're saying. And I think that's a problem with today's hip hop, man. Hip hop doesn't really have a message. You have a good beat, and then you have garbage the rest of the song. I'm just keeping it real with you.
Facts.
You know what I mean? It's you.
Facts.
You have you have a beat. The beat is dope. Don't get me wrong. I'll listen to the beat by itself, and sometimes I feel if we had a lyricist with that particular beat, it would probably take
It'd
that
be
beat
different.
50 times higher than it is already. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's an old mixtape trick. You know, a lot of cats in the mixtape circuit to take something that was out and it'd be so much nicer at it, you'll forget about the original artist.
So, what do you think happened to make that turn, man, from music where it went from actually a meaning behind it to now it's all about getting high, drugged up on, on perks
Mm.
and mescaline. And then the funny part is, like Future always talking about getting high, always talking about dope in the system. The man doesn't do drugs.
So it's all entertainment act.
It's all an entertainment, but that right. But that's the crazy part, though.
Yeah.
Like you talk about it, but you don't live that life.
Right.
You-
Right. So like, what do I think about that? Pretty much like, it's a business. I think the turning point. And it's hard to say whether if there was a definitive turning point of when it left substance and became more about the show, but I feel like in general, like anytime it becomes about the dollar, everything else becomes compromised. So art, sports, whatever industry we look at, as soon as the dollar is the main thing that we're chasing, it's like everything else just gets pushed to the side as far as morals and integrity. You know,
I feel it, and I tell people all the time, money should be our servant, not our master. And I
right?
think,
Ooh, there we go.
yeah, but I mean,
Jules.
That's how I feel. It should be our servant. It should be working for us, not the other way around.
Facts. It's just a tool. You
But
know.
people live for it, and people want it all the time, and people will kill for it. You know what I mean? People will sell themselves out for it. You can live a good life, man, without chasing that paper that way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I know some underground artists. Look at Tech Nine.
Ooh, the best example.
That's the best example of an underground artist that never sold out. He was like, you know what? I don't need the industry. He became a multi-millionaire doing it on his own as an independent artist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the hardest cats out there, man.
Tech Nine is yeah. All of us artists who may not be hip, do your research because that's a prime example of who to follow.
All right, so do you consider yourself right now an underground artist yourself?
Facts, yeah, definitely underground.
So what for you, do you want to stay underground or at some point would you like to go mainstream? I mean, honestly.
Mainstream wouldn't be bad. It's just the right situation has to appear, and I guess I would have to determine what that is. My goal currently is sync licensing, film placement, stuff like that. So if mainstream comes, then it would have to be a scenario that would be like, okay, well, we can provide some resource that you don't currently have, maybe a management tool, maybe, anything that my camp is lacking. I have production, I have mixing and mastering, so I don't know,
Things take time. Things are always going to take time. You have to build a brand, and Honesty Blade is a brand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You have your own. I see you have your own logo. It's a brand, and sometimes brands can be a little hard to get off the ground, but you just got to keep grinding. And that's what we're all doing here. Like I'm doing it myself with this podcast. There's a million podcasts out there, man. But like I said before, we talked about it before. 6 billion people out there. There's somebody that wants to hear you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, talking about podcasts. So, what made you decide to start doing your own? Because you're also a podcaster as well. Now, you're early in the game. You got a few episodes that I've seen up on YouTube. What made that shift? Just to give yourself some more visibility, or you just like talking about music?
It's just both. Visibility, because I felt like I had to have an alternative draw, the music, but then make another arm. But then also it was because of my love for the craft. When I first started doing my podcast on my YouTube, I just started talking about general topics. But as the battle rap stuff started to resurface, it's always been happening, but as it started to heat up, I wanted to talk about those things. So that's what made me want to start going live on my YouTube.
So speaking of battle rap, are you one of these types that will do battle rap as well? Will you go back and forth freestyling with somebody?
I'd rather judge it now. I used to, but I don't want to be a part of the disrespecting each other.
I got you.
I'd rather critique and judge it.
Yeah, because some of these battle raps do get a bit disrespectful. Yeah, they get kind of cutthroat, and these dudes take it to heart, and they don't realize it's just a rap battle, man. You're taking it too personal. It's business. You got to one up each other, and I think that's where a lot of beef comes from. Where these guys really don't like each other and they want to up each other. It's a machismo thing. You know what I mean? It gets old fast.
Facts. That's all it is. It's more wrestling now. It's like who harder? Like I'm tougher. And they get corny because most of the time, and like now, the game is developed it's evolved to the point where now it's like legit like wrestling. Like they'll have a face off and they'll have both of the opponents get there and they have to act like they're upset. And it's like, cats are more trying to outman each other than actually compete with each other.
Yeah, and it gets kind of. So what do you think about the versus stuff right now that's been out the last couple battles?
That's beautiful. That whole concept is beautiful. The Swiss Timberland set it off, and then after that, everything was like the Fab Jadakiss, Patti LaBelle, like all of that stuff is beautiful for the culture because pandemic season, everybody's at home, and that's exciting because we haven't seen anything that close. Like we've always had the arguments in the barbershops and the beauty salons, but for people to put their catalogs next to each other, ooh.
So, which artist would you like to see up there next? Because we just had Cassidy go up there. So, which artist is the next artist you want to see up in the verses?
Oh, on the verses, because Cassidy didn't do a verses. He did battles.
Oh, he did battles.
Yeah, they had now the last verses. Well, the closest one would be like a Fab Jadakiss as far as like the streets. But who would I want to see doing verses? I know 50 and T.I. was gonna do it. I think that's lopsided. I think 50 got more catalog. I might want to see.
Tough one.
That's tough because I could throw anybody out there, but it's got to be an even fight.
You know what I want to see? I want to see the one-hit wonders go against each other.
So how long is that versus gonna be?
I
Like
want to see.
5
I want to
minutes?
see Fat Joe. Fat Joe's like the king of the one-hit wonders. He's he's built his entire career off one-hit wonders.
I don't know that.
Come
Early
on.
Fat Joe. I ain't saying he dope, but like he got a career.
No, he got a career off one-hit wonders. Fat Joe, listen, Fat Joe will come out with a new song every couple of years, and it'll be a banger.
Yeah, it's like he a
And
new artist again.
It's like a new artist again. He'll change his entire style up. When him and Pun were going, it was hardcore. They was
You
like,
right,
it was
right.
all about hardcore. And then when Pun died, he had to lean back. You know what I'm saying? And then he came out with Ashanti with a
What's Love
with
and-
Love song.
Yeah.
And now his new joint that he has right now with DJ Khaled.
Cornball.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Corn.
Like he's built an entire career off one hit wonders. You know what I mean? That's his whole career. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he's expanding into other things. He does other things to make money.
Yeah.
But I would love to see him versus somebody in that spectrum with this one hit wonders that
one
come out.
hits.
But I don't know who else has those hits where they come out. You know,
Game.
game is trash, bro. I'm sorry.
People gonna be mad at you. I can't wait
They
to see
can
these
be mad all
comments.
they want to. He's trash, and the reason I say he's trash, once he left G Unit, his career went in the shitter. I don't care what anybody says. Look at Young Buck.
Mhm.
His career went in the shitter when he left
G-Unit.
G Unit.
Yeah.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
50 put all these guys on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the game, don't get me wrong, game represents where he comes from, and that's all good and that's all great. But his music outside of the West Coast, ain't nobody listening to that here on East Coast. Nobody listening to that to the Midwest or in the South. His
Yeah.
stuff is all West Coast stuff.
All
Nobody's
West.
popping that here. And I've never been one of these guys that like West Coast music.
Okay.
It wasn't me.
Nobody from the West.
But besides Pac, obviously.
Pac.
But then technically, Pac was born in New York City.
Yeah.
And raised in New York City part of his life.
Yeah.
So if you listen to his cadence and you listen to his style, he has some of that East Coast in his
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
He represents the West Side.
Yeah.
He represents, LA and all that. But if you really listen to his music, a lot of his style and cadence you can pick up a lot from the
New
East
York.
Coast, from New York. Yeah.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't realize that. Oh, he's West Coast. He was from New York, bro.
Yeah, he's born there. Facts.
You know what I mean? So,
Facts.
but I've never been aside like Lil Wayne. People love Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne to me is trash. I'm sorry, he's trash.
Yeah.
Never liked Lil Wayne. His music is it's
Any
just,
songs?
No. Some of his songs are dope. Don't get me wrong. Like he's not. For people to say he's one of the best artists of all times, it's like a slap in the face.
Yeah, facts. Facts. I mean, because it come from the school of thought. And, like, I was going to ask you, like, you like earlier Wayne?
I do like earlier Wayne when he was true to himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys, once they start, look, biggest example of that is Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
Snoop Dogg, early Snoop Dogg was and I don't even like West Coast rap, but early Snoop Dogg was a monster.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? His stuff was on point. He was a dog. But at some point, you can't rap about the same stuff anymore because you're not living that lifestyle.
Nah, yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't say you on the corner selling drugs because you ain't. You're a multimillionaire now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can't sell that.
You ain't living that life. And then he's gotten away from trying to still portray that life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when he first started moving away from that life, he still tried to show that he was about that life. He ain't about that life.
Yeah. You can't, that's like 50 Cent now saying, like, I'll murk you. Like, no, you won't. Like, chances are you're not.
He's not. He's not about that. He's about making money now.
You know?
He's a businessman. He's a businessman. Look at what's his cast name? He was a CEO.
Rick Ross?
Rick Ross. This dude. See, Rick Ross is smart, and I'll tell you why Ross is smart. What he did is he still portrays that lifestyle, but he elevated it. So
Okay.
he still rocks the chains. He still acts like he's the dude, but he's making money with investments now. He ain't dumb. Waka Flocka the same way. Waka Flocka had an interview and he was like,
yeah.
"Why am I still rapping? I'm a millionaire."
I think I seen that. I forgot what platform.
Yeah, he's like,
He
"I'm a
impressed
millionaire."
me. He impressed me.
Yeah, he's like, "Why I gotta rap?" He's like, "I'm a multi-man. I don't gotta live that lifestyle. I'm gonna make my money in investments now and buying property and doing those different things." You know what I mean? But sometimes these artists get caught up in that lifestyle and they don't realize, hey, there's another way out of here. You can still make good music. You ain't gotta act like you a gangster. You ain't no gangster.
Yeah, right. And it's cool to say that. It's cool to be real and say I'm not. But a lot of cats they haven't gotten to that growth. You know,
Like one of my favorite artists right now is J. Cole.
J. Cole.
Cause he's the closest I've seen right now to like '90s hip hop.
Yeah.
He has a message behind what he's saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But a lot of these other artists, all they are is just a beat.
Yeah.
That's it.
I love that God's Gift. That
Yeah,
one with
yeah.
the Crooked Smile.
Yeah.
And that project was cold. Once he got, I'm gonna be honest. Once he got to that Forest Hills Drive, I wasn't real excited. You know, and arguably, a lot of people feel like that was their favorite piece of work. But I just lost interest around that time, and I'm not sure why.
It's like Kendrick. Like Kendrick came out hard, and then
Mhm.
he fell off. Like what the hell happened to him?
You think he fell off?
He ain't been making music.
Since that
Have you heard
Damn?
anything from him?
Nah. The last project was what? Damn.
I haven't heard anything from Kendrick. These guys start getting money, man. They get disinterested. You know what I mean?
It's very natural, yeah. It's rare because it's hard to like. Those are two different worlds. Like having the hunger and then being in the celebrity.
Right.
It's two different worlds. And like some people can do it. I guess it depends on how true you are with your art. But even as an artist, you're gonna have phases where you're just not real on it. You might just be like, forget it.
So you said yourself that sometimes you'll start a project and you'll get bored with it and move it to the side. And do you ever come back to that project to finish it?
Yeah, most of the time. Most of the time I do. That's why I keep like 4 or 5 of them operating because I might get in a different bag on Monday and then I'd be like, I feel like this beat might go to that project.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? So
It makes sense. It makes sense. So the new LP you're working on, have you recorded any songs for that yet? Or
yeah,
no?
yeah. Professional use only. I got a lot of songs in the stash because I'm always recording. So the process just becomes what fits this, what theme. So I'm probably, to be honest with you, maybe 50 or 60 songs in the stash as far as what ones might be considered for it.
So typically, how long is a session for you in the studio?
It's relative to what I come there to do. If it's a mix session, then it'll go as far as we want it to. You know, if we up at like 2, 3 in the morning, if the ideas are still flowing, we keep it going. If it's a session, if I do like 1 or 2 tracks, it just depends.
So you don't treat it like a business then? Like Eminem is funny because we were seeing something about M. Akon was talking about he was collaborating with M, and M comes in the studio at 9 o'clock in the morning. He'll have a lunch at 1, and then he's out of the studio by 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But he's gotten to that point where he doesn't need to be in the studio till all hours of the day.
Yeah.
But I think I find that funny because he still has passion for music, but now he treats it like a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that he needs to do and go in the studio for.
Yeah.
But lyrically, though, a lot of people give Eminem flack, but the boy can, man, his skills are ridiculous, man. They need to give him the credit that he deserves. I don't think he gets enough credit.
For real? You don't think he do?
Nah, man, people bag on him all the time, man. You got major artists that throw salt on his game. Snoop Dogg was throwing salt on him.
What'd he say?
Saying that the hip-hop community wouldn't miss him if he stopped rapping.
I don't know about that.
Those are the words he said, yeah.
I mean, would they miss him? I mean, I feel like he's proven enough, so I don't know what he would need to be here making more music for, but if it's your passion, you still licensed to do it, so. But I don't feel like people, I don't know. Eminem got his own fan base, so I'm sure they'll hold him down no matter what the world is saying. But I don't know. I mean, at this point, do we need more projects from M?
I don't know. He's put out a ton of albums, man. You know, now when he comes out, he has to defend himself, you know, like a diss rap because somebody's trying to diss him. Mm-hmm. So he still has to prove that he has it.
Yeah. All right, let me ask you this. Did you pay attention to the him and what's cat from here name? I don't even process dude. That's why I can't remember his name.
Oh, you talking about Machine Gun Kelly?
Machine Gun.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that?
I tell you what, man. I think Machine Gun held his own though, man.
He did, didn't he?
He didn't back down. Machine Gun didn't back down.
It was pretty good, wasn't it?
It was pretty good, man. But everybody gonna give it to M because M's M. But at the end of the day, he came hard at M.
He did. I still think M won though.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty close, man. Killshot wasn't that great to me.
You don't think so?
Nah, man. Killshot wasn't that great to me. That wasn't M's best diss track that I've ever heard.
Nah, not his best. Nah. I mean, but that was the point. It was like, was he gonna pull all of that out for the little old MGK? Like,
yeah, but you know what? People, and you from Cleveland. You know, I lived here 20 plus years. people need to give MGK his props.
Yeah.
He stopped rapping because he was like, I'm tired of this. Nobody's giving me respect in the hip hop community. Nobody's giving me, any love. So he stopped rapping. So
I
he's
didn't know
more
he
doing
stopped.
that, like the alternative rock stuff now, and making movies, and he's an actor now. and
Yeah,
all
I
that.
seen him in the movies.
You know what I mean? So I just think sometimes the hip hop community drives good artists out. You know what I mean? They don't give people an opportunity to get to that next level, which is crazy to me because there's, like I said, there's 6 billion people on the planet, man.
Mm-hmm.
There's an ear for everybody.
For everybody, we can share audiences.
You know what I mean? It's like the underground, like Jadakiss to this day is underground now.
Is he underground?
He's
still?
underground. Jadakiss underground. Right now he's on. Where do you hear a lot of his stuff? Do you hear stuff radio play? The last commercial song he had was that song when he talked about why the president got to be black.
Why?
Yeah, why did Denzel have to be a bad guy to win the Oscar?
I mean, that was his biggest look. He had some looks after that though.
I think a lot of his stuff now. You hear a lot of his stuff is underground.
Cause I look at it like, all right, Jadakiss already established, so I feel like underground is when you haven't broke yet. Jada's already in the industry and established. I just feel like he might be B or maybe even C level as far as celebrity.
But what kills me is that when these artists try to maintain a certain lifestyle that they don't live anymore, like Jadakiss go hard to this day, but he ain't living that gangster shit no more.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't even know if he might sell drugs, but I wouldn't see why. He probably would if he. I don't know. I guess I look at it like if you're a businessman, you got a juice bar, you got other investments. Why would you still sell drugs? Like,
well, some of these cats want to, like I said, some of these cats want to keep that image, and it's not real. But look, man, we could sit here and talk for 5 hours when it comes to music stuff.
Yeah.
But we're gonna wrap it up. I appreciate everybody listening in. Who's gonna listen in? Go ahead and check out Honasty Blade. He is on YouTube with his podcast channel. He is on SoundCloud. You can find him on all streaming platforms as well for his music. Check his LP out. Is there anything else you want to promote for yourself?
Get that Son of Mark, stream it, share it, tell people about real hip hop, put it in their faces, scream in their faces. If they stop being friends with you, just say okay. And support real hip hop, man.
All right, folks, I appreciate you. This is Francisco, and we will see you next time on the Frankly Francisco podcast. Have a good night, folks.
Peace.